Hey, Joseph,
Hmm?
have you heard of Subterror Guru? Flip decks are finally going to be good.
Oh. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad they're finally getting the representation they deserve.
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. The year is 2019 and it's time for the Rogue Deck Builder to rise up. With the removal of FTKs from the format entirely, now any deck is able to lose to Sky Striker. Today's newcomer to the metagame has the potential to lose to engage with the best of them, and shockingly do so while playing some extremely mediocre cards. Let's get subby with Subterror. Yikes, I'll think of a better way to say that by the end. So here's the list, and whoo, nothing to dampen those budget hopes like 3 extravagants staring right back at you. As always, I'll give you a little bit of background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and as always, the card by card. So firstly, for those of you that don't know, Subterror is an archetype of flip monsters who have previously enjoyed a very brief stint of arguable playability at the tail end of the final format in which Ancient Fairy Dragon was legal. It operated a small advantage engine alongside its extremely powerful field spell, the Hidden City. Since then, however, it's been relegated to the garbage bin with every single other flip effect monster, at least until Deus Ex Crawler comes out. Its setup was too slow, it was too reliant on the Hidden City sticking to the field, its payoff was virtually non-existent, and while it did have extremely powerful disruption and negation tools in Subterror Fiendus, one good card does not an archetype make. However, 2 good cards just might. In Sast, Subterror received Subterror Guru, a double helix for the archetype in terms of playability. This bad boy has an effect we all know, love, and fear just a little bit. When flipped face up, he can add a Subterror card from your deck to your hand. This ability, which was good enough to keep Stratos under wraps for God knows how long, gets better once you realize you've got targets of Subterror Final Battle, which allows you to reset Subterror Guru for additional activations, and Subterror Fiendus, the aforementioned Omni Negate, which, hilariously, sets a Subterror monster you control back face down. Subterror Guru can also flip a monster and himself face down once per turn, which can be done as a quick effect if you've got another Subterror card on your side of the field. By establishing an early lock of Subterror Guru and looping through Fienduses, we can accrue enough advantage to beat over our opponent's monsters by using the attack modification of Final Battle and banishing stragglers with a 1 of Umastrix. Our advantageous typing also gives us access to a couple of pretty interesting floodgates, which we can hopefully leverage against the top 3 meta decks of Sky Striker, Thunder, and Altergeist. Gozen and Only One should slow the game down to a crawler. Crawl! Sorry, this is very hard for me. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First, we're on 3 copies of Subterror Guru and 3 Subterror Fiendus, followed by 1 Nemesis Archer, the Giant Rat, and 1 Umastrix, which banishes monsters. Our monster lineup concludes with 3 copies of Ash. For spells, we're on 3 Pot of Extravagance, 3 Pot of Duality, 2 Terraforming, 3 Hidden City, 1 Subterror Cave Clash, which recycles our Subterrors from grave and is a face-up non-monster Subterror, so Guru's effect can always be quick. Finally, we've got a Regeki because we've got 1 additional slot, and I'm a bit of a scrub. For traps, we're on 3 copies of Infip, 3 copies of Gozen, 2 Only One, 2 Final Battle, and 5 old bearded dudes here to stop fun wherever it may rain. 3 copies of Strike, a Warning, a Judgment, and an Order. In the extra, we've got a bit of an extravagance board: 2 Ningirsu, 2 Unicorn, 3 Phoenix, 2 Cerberus, 3 Mrs. Radiant, and 3 Clara and Rushka. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Harpy, and ooh, that's a cute way to trigger Hysteric Sign. We're going first, and our opener is pretty good. We're going to start with a copy of Pot of Extravagance that's going to draw us 2 cards, both of which are semi-draw spells. We'll activate this copy of Terraforming for a Hidden City, getting us a Guru, then followed up with a Duality. We find a Solemn Judgment off of the top, so we'll go ahead and set 5, passing it back to our opponent. Our opponent draws for turn, and T sets in 2019 before passing it back to us. We should be in control of this game. We're going to activate a second Hidden City for our Omni Negate, then flip up Subterror Guru for a copy of Final Battle. We'll go to battle phase, and there's Magical Hats getting an Elegant Egotist and a Hysteric Sign. We'll attack, and we hit the sign. We'll go ahead and set 1 card. They'll activate Hysteric Sign's effect in Graveyard, but an Omni Negate does negate everything. That's what Omni means. They're then going to normal summon a copy of Harpy Perfumer. We will negate its effect with Infinite Transience. Afterwards, we're going to flip up a copy of Harpy Harpist. We're going to flip up our copy of Subterror Guru, and trigger its effect to get a copy of Subterror Fiendus to hand. They'll then go into Exciton Knight. We have just the Judgment for that, and they'll pass back the turn in end phase, triggering the effect of Harpy Harpist until we activate Subterror Fiendus. Feendus. From here, we should be able to win the game quite easily. I spaghetti a little bit in doing so. We're going to start with our second copy of Extravagance. Wow, you can activate 2 of these a game. It's better than Desires. We'll activate Hidden City, then normal summon a copy of Nemesis Archer, getting in for 16 and 16 again. Of course, we could have gotten in for a little bit more with the effect of the copy of Final Battle we have set. We're then going to get the Umastrix to our side of the field and set that sucker back face down before activating Cave Clash after we've attacked. Our opponent's going to go ahead and set 1 card, then activate Seduction, passing it back to us. For a turn, we draw a copy of only 1, but it's far too late for that to be relevant. We're going to banish our opponent's last remaining monster with Umastrix and get in for, wow, lethal damage, starting with 16, activating Cave Clash to add our Omni Negate back, getting in for a second 16, and dealing the final blow with Umastrix. Our second match is up against ABC, a deck that recently had a very impressive showing at the YCS, and I think had nothing to do with the individual quality of cards in the deck. Our opponent's going first. They're going to set 3 and pass. God, I love this format. You can get away with being so slow. We're going to activate Pot of Duality, and what do we find but, ooh, a Hidden City. We'll go ahead and activate that to get ourselves a copy of Subterror Guru, then normal summon it, attack, and take 400 damage. Well, that's a lot of defense points. We'll pass it back to our opponent. They're going to draw a Silver Gadget. They'll normal summon it, use its effect to get a B, and then go into a Hyperstar. They'll activate the effect of B. We'll activate Ash. They'll activate a copy of Called. We'll activate a copy of Fiendus. They'll activate a copy of Strike, and we'll activate a Judgment, a 6-chain deep unresolving B. Oh, thank goodness we do get to negate it, which means we won't be staring down ABC. They attack, we'll be able to negate that with Hidden City, and set our copy of Guru back face down with Final Battle in end step. We should be able to win from this position. For turn, we draw Terraforming. Fantastic. We'll start by flipping up Guru and getting ourselves a copy of Cave Clash, then activating Terraforming for a second copy of Hidden City, getting our Omni Negate, normal summoning it, and using its effect to special summon the copy of Umastrix from our hand, Hidden Citying that sucker back up so we can banish our opponent's copy of C. We'll then activate Cave Clash, attack into this copy of Hyperstar, use Cave Clash to return the Omni Negate. They'll activate the effect of Hyperstar. We will activate the on-board effect of the Fiendus we have in order to set our copy of Guru face down and negate it. For turn, they draw a copy of Upstart. They'll activate it. We'll activate Ash Blossom. They'll activate Gamma, and we'll activate Fiendus. Have you ever seen a 4-chain on an Upstart Goblin? A satisfying end to the game. So it's time for Game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent is on Sky Striker, and this first hand looks pretty good. Ours is fantastic, and theirs is terrible. We're going to start by activating the effect of the Hidden City to get ourselves a copy of Guru, and, well, there's Ash Blossom. Okay, we can wait until next turn. Let's activate Pot of Duality, and we find a bunch of ways to get Hidden City. We'll go ahead and get Terraforming so we at least don't draw it. We'll pass it back to our opponent. They draw a Ghost Ogre for turn. They'll Foolish Burial Goods, activate the effect of Metal Foes Fusion, and what do they find but Engage? They'll go ahead and activate Area 0, targeting their set card, and what do they find but a second Engage? Well, at the very least, they can't Afterburners right now. They'll go ahead and get a Widow Anchor, set 4, and pass it back to us. We draw a Final Battle for turn, which is fantastic. We'll go ahead and activate the effect of Hidden City to flip up the copy of Guru we just set, and they have the Ghost Ogre. We can at least get in for 1600, set a card, and pass it back to our opponent. Our opponent's going to draw a card. We'll activate Final Battle to play around Afterburners. They're then going to set this copy of Metal Foes Fusion. They find a copy of Shark Cannon, which allows them to destroy the Metal Foes Fusion, then draw a card. It's Terraforming, so they get a second Area 0 before setting the Shark and passing it back to us. We're going to go ahead and flip up this Nemesis Archer and Guru. We'll activate the effect of Guru to get Fiendus, then activate Hidden City for a second copy of Guru. We'll go to Battle Phase, do 16, 16, and though we have Lethal now, I don't use it because I'm a baby that believes that people play meaningful back row hate. Our opponent's going to draw. They find a Shared Ride. They'll then activate Area 0, then chain Hornet Bit, then chain Widow Anchor, targeting our copy of Guru. We'll chain Fiendus. They'll chain Called by the Grave, and we'll chain Final Battle to flip our Guru down. They'll end on a Shark Cannon of their own, getting the Fiendus to their side of the board. That's 7 deep on this chain. Wow, that's interaction. They find a copy of Multi-Roll off of this Area 0, so they will activate it, destroying the copy of Fiendus they just stole, before adding a copy of Widow Anchor back at end step. We'll flip up this copy of Guru. They'll chain Widow Anchor. I'll chain Final Battle, preventing effect negation, but it doesn't really do what I want. They're going to take it. We do get to add, but they do get to draw off of Shared Ride. We can win from here by activating Cave Clash, attacking, then activating the Grave effect of Nemesis Archer to get ourselves a copy of Umastrix. Our opponent's going to activate Eagle Booster, but we still have Lethal. Alright, so it's time for Game 2, and our opponent has elected to allow us to go first. That is terrible news. We're going to start by activating Pot of Duality. What do we find? But, well, I guess we'll take the Indulgence and hope for the best. We're going to set a copy of Guru we get off of Hidden City and 2 cards before passing it back to our opponent. They'll start with the Foolish Burial Goods, then activate Startup Engage. We will Ash Blossom that. They'll activate a second Startup Engage, and we'll Solemn Judgment. They'll then normal summon this copy of Ray and tag out into Kagari. We will negate its effect, and we have staved off Engage for a single turn. After that, they're going to go into Hayate, attack directly. We will negate the attack with Hidden City and activate the effect of Guru. They, of course, do have a copy of Widow Anchor in hand, so they can negate the effect of Guru, and then shuffle Fusion for Terraforming for Area 0. You better... The third engage! Are you kidding me? The top 7 cards of their deck, 3 engages. Okay, well, they'll go ahead and get a Shark Cannon set to and activate Shizuku for jamming waves. We draw for turn. At the very least, we can activate Extravagance, drawing 2 cards off the top. One of them is a Fiendus. We'll activate that effect, but Ghost Ogre will make quick work of it. We'll go ahead and set Solemn Strike and pass it back to our opponent, who will reveal they have a copy of Heavy Duststorm set. There's no reason to play this one out. Alright, so it's time for game 3, and you want to make me go first? I'll make you go first! Our opponent's going to start by setting 4 cards and passing it back to us. Classic Sky Striker opens. For turn, we draw a copy of Regeki, not particularly good in this matchup. We'll activate Terraforming to get a copy of Hidden City, then Hidden City for a Subterror Guru. We will then activate Duality, finding a bunch of cards we don't want. We'll take the Extravagance. We'll use Hidden City to flip up this copy of Guru. Our opponent's going to respond with a copy of Widow Anchor. I think we're okay with that, so we'll attack directly for 1600. In main phase 2, set 1 card and pass it back to our opponent. They draw a Ray. That's pretty good. They'll go into Hayate, go to battle phase. We'll activate Infinite Transients on the Hayate, so they'll then go into Kagari in main phase 2, adding back this copy of Widow Anchor and Shizuku at end step. We'll activate Fiendus in order to destroy it. They'll activate Designator, banishing our Fiendus. So unfortunately, they do get to add an engage, and we are going to have to beat that card. Well, the first thing we'll do is activate this Pot of Extravagance, banishing 6 to draw 2 cards. We'll then activate another Hidden City for another Fiendus. We'll normal summon a copy of Archer. They will Widow Anchor our Guru in response to the flip down effect. That's fine with us. We'll go to battle phase, attacking our Giant Rat into their copy of Shizuku. And then in main phase 2, flipping up this copy of Umastrix, so we have a second target for the effect of Guru. When they go to engage, we'll activate the effect of Subterror Fiendus. They'll chain Widow Anchor on our Guru. We will chain the effect of Guru. We negate the effect of Startup Engage, and then we're able to Solemn Strike the Kagari. They will activate a couple of Shark Cannons to deplete our entire graveyard before going into a copy of Nightmare Phoenix, discarding this copy of Metal Foe's Fusion that's stranded in the hand. We will Transients in response because it's marked for destruction. They'll shuffle and find a Hornet Bit, but that's not particularly good right now. They'll pass it back to us, and oh my god, I think we're going to be able to walk away with this. We'll activate Extravagance number 2. We draw a couple of cards off the top before flipping up Umastrix and banishing the token. We'll flip up Guru, getting a copy of Final Battle before activating Pot of Duality and finding, well, another Fiendus is nice. We'll then activate Cave Clash, go to battle phase, do 100 damage to our opponent, add a second copy of Fiendus to our hand, get in for 1600, set 1 card, and pass it back to our opponent. For turn, they draw a copy of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. At end step, we'll activate the effect of Guru. They will chain Snow Rabbit, we will chain Fiendus. Of course, there's no way they're going to be able to fight over this anymore. We'll then activate Final Battle, flipping up this copy of Guru and triggering the effect for a second copy of Final Battle. For turn, we draw a copy of Guru, and wow, that should be it. We'll go to battle phase, attack, and then in damage step, do exact lethal with our copy of Umastrix. So we're back with the deck, and wow! I am choosing to chalk this victory up to my own individual skill, and not the instant win button floodgates our deck is full of, or the selective video editing that I've engaged in. As with any strategy, this one's got pros and cons, so let's take a look at them. First, the pros. 1. This deck is mad consistent. Extravagance, Duality, Terraforming, Hidden City, and yes, occasionally even Archer mean that you're more than able to always access Guru. Your turn 1 play is strikingly powerful, and you can count on seeing it almost every single game. 2. The space in the strategy allows for access to almost every unfair card still legal. Goes and Match, Only One, and Imperial Order all shine as cards that can flip the script on completely unwinnable matchups. And 3, God, I have missed Omni-Negates. The game has changed so much since Break My Board formats, and sometimes a reminder of how strong these are is touching instead of oppressive. And the cons. 1, it's extremely interruptible if your opponent knows what they're doing. Sure, they can't Ash everything, but if they just wait until Hidden City, it's likely they can keep you off Guru until the HOPT wears off. 2, sometimes you just get run over. Chewy decks like Thunder excel at breaking boards and will make quick work of your battle phase attack negation in Hidden City and can easily survive through a single Fiendus activation. And 3, one of the issues with a format as diverse as this one is that while Floodgates are insane versus the top 3 decks, they kind of fall off in playability against Rogue. Expect to lose a lot of game 1s to decks that don't really care about Gozen or Only One. All in all, it's an extremely powerful deck that is almost optimized out of the starting gate. It's been topping already, and I expect it to continue to do so for the foreseeable future, or at least until people start boarding Noblemen of Crossout. So that's that. Thanks for coming with me on this journey. I only wish Crawler's Spine could have been here too. If you want to see me play the decks I make on this show on stream, I'm usually at twitch.tv/mbtygo, Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have a certain idea for a deck or archetype you want to see on a future episode of this show, let me know in the comment section below and I'll do my best. Otherwise, I'll see you Wednesday.